Hey guys, Elizabeth Wagmeister here, and I am with Michael Cudlitz.
Yo.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I have to do my duty and give you guys a big spoiler alert.
She said duty.
But if you're watching, you probably know why this man is here, but I'm going to make you say it so that I don't get yelled at by the fans. But spoiler alert.
I just don't think we have to address this issue whatsoever. We should just start asking questions.
All right.
If you haven't watched the episode, it's kind of your problem at this point.
I agree. Thank you, sir. All right, with that said, we will be taking your questions right here on our handy-dandy iPad, so please send them in, and Mike will be answering them right here. But
I will.
I have to ask you, I know that you have been talking about it a lot last night on Talking Dead and also this morning, but you've known that you were going to be killed off for over a year. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
A year and 3 months now, I think it is.
Okay, so
4 months.
What were your conversations like with the producers? Like, was it a phone call, or how did you get the bad news?
Scott Gimple had called for a meeting with me last, I think August a year ago. Mm-hmm. And I kind of knew like it could have been time within the show because that's where Abraham passes in the graphic novel. And so I kind of had a feeling, and I had gotten the call on a Friday, I think, and he said, the message was, give me a call on Monday, we need to set up a meeting. Or one of the ADs called and said that. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I couldn't go through the weekend without finding out what the topic of the subject matter was. So I got him to, eventually call me back before the weekend was over, and I knew that was what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. So it was fine. I just wanted to know, sort of for planning purposes. This is the audience doesn't always do this, in their head, because this is what they associate us with, but this is our job, and then this job ends, and when this job ends, we say goodbye to it in a very respectful way. We take all the good things from it and we move on to our next job.
Right.
So as a professional actor, you have to plan on what you're going to do next.
Right.
So, I needed to know what the schedule was going to look like, and we had the idea, or we were given the idea that it was, going to either be happening the end of season 6 or the beginning of season 7. Mm-hmm. That they had not decided yet. Mm-hmm. So that was the big thing for them to figure out schedule-wise and how they wanted to tell the story. So. That was about it.
So you and the entire cast has known this entire time, and you've been keeping it a secret, right?
Yeah.
So how tough was that to keep it from the fans? And also, can you talk about the kind of plan that the cast came up with to be sure it didn't leak?
Well, the plan is don't talk about it.
Right, but
and I'm being serious.
Yeah.
It's like we have much harder secrets to keep. Things that are happening this year that I'm aware of, things that have happened in the past. That are on a week-to-week basis, because we have, they will send out the show to some people and they'll say, these guys have seen the episode, they're going to do a review on it, it's going to be a post-mortem, it's going to come out first thing Monday morning, you can talk to them about things on the episode. And then we have people who haven't seen the show, who we can't do those with. And keeping that all straight in your head is much harder than this, which was, you just can't talk about it.
Right.
Because that makes it easy. You just can't talk about it.
Right. Now, do you feel a sense of relief now that you're able to finally let it out?
It is because everybody asks. They don't always want to know, but they always want to ask. To see if they can get an inkling. Then nobody really wants to know.
Right.
They want to think they know or maybe know, but that's the playful part of it. So we just don't tell them.
Right.
Or make up stuff.
Make up stuff. That's good. Can you walk me through what it was like to film that scene? Because obviously watching it was gruesome. It was hard to watch. It was heartbreaking for the fans. What was it like for you?
It was hard for us as well, but it was also exciting. With I'm very fortunate. I work with a lot of very talented people, and this group is some of the most talented. We were in that semicircle, all sort of being able to see each other peripherally or directly on, because we're in a semicircle, and we got to watch each other work, which is something that's rare. And for 2 nights, we watched, basically Jeffrey destroy everyone and break everybody down, for 8-10 hours a night, and we got to sort of have the front row seat to watch that work, from our peers and people we respect. I found it exciting. I found it very satisfying work. It was painful. It was uncomfortable. But that's, you know, we joke because people say, "What was your worst scene to film?" or "What was your hardest moment?" or you know, the most terrible thing that's happening. We look at that's like a great day at work for us, because we get to sort of explore all these emotions, and that's why we do what we do. So, like, your worst day is not really our worst day. It's kind of like our best day, in the sense of we get to be there and experience that. So, in the middle of it, while we're doing it, it's very, very intense and sad and gets you going. But ultimately, when you step back from it, you're like, that was a great day.
Right.
You know, oh
I
my
don't
God,
like hearing
look what we
that,
did, you know?
but I can understand that.
So it's fun, you know, in a twisted way, because that's what we do.
Right. Now, have you talked to Steven today since the episode
I have
was
not talked to
aired?
Steven today. I may have texted with Steven this morning.
Okay.
I think I may have early, but I may have been responding to something he sent me late last night. I'm not sure.
How's he doing?
He's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's good?
Steven's like, I think I'm more excited for what's next for Steven than I am for myself. You know, I watched, you know, I've been very fortunate. I work in this industry, and this industry has been very, very good to me. Steven is just starting out. You know, this is one of his first jobs, if not his first job. And I watched him grow up on this show as me being a fan of the show, and to see where Steven is creatively, and to see where he's, you know, what he's about ready to jump into. It's phenomenal, you know, and I am so excited for him and what's next for him. It's going to be great.
Right. Okay, now let's get to some fan questions.
Okay.
So Michael, and thank you for your question, Michael, asks, does Abraham have any regrets?
Regrets. I think, obviously, you know, nobody wants to die. So, I mean, I think his regret is not being able to have a life with Sasha. You know, if we were to look back at the whole thing. If you're familiar with the graphic novels, he actually talks about, even after the apocalypse, he got with his family, and he confesses to Rick that he was never really a very good husband to begin with, even though he was trying to do the right thing to his family, or with his family in the end. I think now he is actually able to be the husband and the lover and the father that he never was able to be. So I think possibly that is a regret, but being able to sort of offer himself up in lieu of the group and anyone in the group taking it, I think that, you know, that's not a regret.
Right.
So
he went out as a hero.
He went, yeah. And Chris Hardwick had said it last night. He said he killed him, but he didn't beat him. You know,
I like that.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yep.
So.
Okay, now you mentioned Sasha and Solomon. Thank you for your question. Solomon asked, was Abe giving the peace sign to Sasha before he got killed?
Yes, absolutely. He was saying goodbye. He was saying everything was going to be okay. He was saying, with no words, what Steven said to Maggie. You
Right.
know, and it's that last the Mohicans line. It's the, you know, I will find you.
Now I want to ask a bit about, you know, that, and also the line that Glenn gave to Maggie. How do you think that Maggie goes on from this? You know, will we see a totally new Maggie?
I would hope she'd be, you know, profoundly, or I think she'd be profoundly changed. You know, that's something she would have to answer. But as a fan of the show, I'm excited to see what that does to her, how that you know, hardens her, and what does she keep of Glenn, which was really an extension of her dad. You know, so it's the hope, the love, the positivity, all the things that made Herschel what he was. You know, the voice of reason at times. Does that tweak her? You know, seeing not just that he was killed, but so brutally murdered in front of her.
Right.
So we'll see.
Now you mentioned that you know some things that are happening
I know lots of stuff.
coming up.
Can't say a thing.
I know you can't say a thing,
You
but
want me to, don't you?
I wouldn't
Just like
be
every
doing
bit
my
of
job
her
if I did
wants
not
me to say,
ask.
I'm not going to.
Speaking
You
of
have to wait and
Maggie,
see.
do you know in the season when the baby comes?
Do I know? I know she's pregnant.
You do. We know that too, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. That's all you're getting out of me.
All right, all right. Well, the next question from Mackenzie.
You're not getting a baby out of me. Wait, what? Wait a
Things just
minute.
got awkward, right?
Awkward.
Question from Mackenzie. Will you still watch the show?
Absolutely. Will you?
I will.
I know you will. I'm asking
think they
Mackenzie.
will. Mm-hmm.
You better watch the show. Better be a bunch of little hearts and butterflies flying across the screen right now on that Facebook Live.
Right?
Come on.
Well, speaking of fans still watching the show, there have been some really angry fans this morning.
They'll get over
because you think they'll get over it?
Yeah, they'll get over it.
Okay. Have you gotten any really harsh comments?
Me? No, I'm sure I will after me saying this. That
Right.
I haven't, but I'm sure people, they just love to poop on a parade.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
That's their right. Social media.
Yep.
Woo.
Lindsay asks, what will you miss most about playing Abraham?
What will I being down there with my friends? Mm-hmm. That's it. It's a really cool place to work. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not, you know, not in some sort of like, you know, it'll never be like this again. Oh my gosh! Mm-hmm. It's just, no, it was an awesome creative environment with really really cool people, and I'll miss that.
What was your last day like on set? You spoke about filming the scene, but just kind of behind the scenes, what was that like?
It was kind of fun, and we were probably overcompensating because of the seriousness of it. You know, Steve and I were joking a lot about, you know, with the makeup and stuff, and because we did all the prosthetic work at the very very end. But it was you know, in a way it was just very because we had known for so long that we were leaving. We got to say our goodbyes.
Right.
So it was really just really enjoying that time on set, you know, with our friends.
Did you take anything from set?
I took all kinds of stuff.
What'd you take?
I can't tell you that. And the AMC would know, and they'd bill me for it.
That's not even a spoiler. I just want to,
Pretty much. I may have taken a couple of dog tags over the course of the 3 or 4 years I was there. I may have a couple of cases of cigars that I didn't purchase. Possibly. May have a knife or two that I was given, straight up given, would never steal. But I may have those things.
Well, something else you still have is the mustache.
That's not theirs to take.
It's not, but
Wait, is it? Maybe
I don't
it
know.
is.
It's real. I won't tug on it, but it's real.
You want to tug on it though, don't you? You want to see it gets awkward, doesn't it?
Okay, I'm just gonna do it.
Oh.
I'm just gonna do it.
Now it gets
How long does that
awkward.
stay there for?
See, right? You're all at home going, that's kind of
Just
awkward.
lots of awkward moments going on here, you know? How long does it stay?
I didn't hear anything you said after Can I Touch Your Mustache?
Should I just stay here and stare at it then?
You
Because
can-
then it will
you
get
can just
really
stare,
awkward,
you
right?
can
Then
just,
we'll get
like, now
really,
little
really, really
parts are
awkward.
flying, now
Yeah.
people are, like creepy.
And how many of you want to touch the mustache, right? Like, I had to do it.
I mean,
You're right here.
The dudes are all like, that's ridiculous.
They're like, that's weird.
But they kind of want to say they want to touch the mustache
Yeah.
too. I don't have to keep it for any amount of time. I could shave it off tonight, but I won't. And it's in a lot of ways, out of respect for the fans, because for them, they have just lost Abraham. Even though I've been saying goodbye to Abraham for over a year, they have just lost Abraham. And we have a really awesome fan event coming up next weekend, and it'll be kind of everyone's last chance to sort of take pictures with it if they want. So it's kind of cool. And I won't probably shave completely clean anyway. I'll let everything catch up and grow in. So that's what I usually do.
All right. Reese asks, what was the best death of all time on the entire series?
The best death of all. That's changed now, because I think Stevens, has taken over what was Herschel's, which was Shane's. So, but the most jacked up death with Otis was when Shane shot him in the leg so he could take all the stuff. So, you know, I think we have some really cool deaths. Merle's death was awesome. Andrea's death was awesome. Lori's death was awesome. Shot in the face by your own kid. Like, not that that's awesome. Don't do this at home, unless your parent is a zombie. Yeah. No, I think we got some great deaths.
I know that you know a lot of things. Can we anticipate
A lot of stuff
a lot of stuff
and things.
with Negan now in the picture, which
Right.
is still scared. I'm still scared from last
should be.
night. Do we have to be worried that any of our core members are
I think
also
that-
going to be killed?
I think that is the ingredient of Negan. You know, we always knew, and Kirkman always wanted everyone to realize that we were in a dangerous world, and that was the reason why he said, "People that you love will die." The audience needs to be reminded that they're in a dangerous world. I think that the audience, up until this point, feels like, well, okay, we know this may happen, or we're getting to a point where this person's feeling happy, so we may lose somebody. We haven't lost somebody in a while, we might lose somebody. The audience is sort of thinking they've figured out what the rhythm of the show is and what the rhythm of Scott and Robert is. This changes it completely. This basically reminds you, again, it's not only an unsafe world, but now you got a guy who's pretty much going to kill you if he doesn't like the way you looked at him.
Right.
So the game has changed. The rules have changed, and the danger has changed, and definitely everything has been escalated. So yeah, no one has been safe, and I would say that everyone is even less safe now.
Now, last night after the episode, a preview for season 7 was shown, and Rick is saying something along the lines of, "I'm no longer in charge." Negan is. Will that really continue to hold true? Because it seems so anti-Rick. Or can we expect to see him take the reins again?
Sounds like a shitty show.
Right?
I'm just saying, we'll see. I mean, he's definitely, Rick is broken at this point. Right. But we have to see if he rebuilds, if he relinquishes power to someone else, control, if he's willing to, at any point, put up any resistance, let alone fight back. But that's what we're going to see. We're going to see how the group either rebuilds itself or dismantles itself, and what the show becomes from this point. Because the show is very different from this point moving forward. Very, very different.
Right. Okay, a few more fan questions. Riley asked, why was it now Abraham's time to die? What's your opinion on that?
Because they wrote it that way on page 27.
There we go. And you outlived the comics for a bit. Not long.
Such an unsatisfying
answer. It is. But what else can you say?
Yeah, it's just time to go, because he, basically gave up the ultimate sacrifice for something he loved. Things he was willing to die for, not only kill for.
Miro asks, what do you think that Abraham's death, or I think he meant how, but how will it affect the survivors still in Alexandria?
Well, obviously it's going to have a huge impact on Rosita and Sasha, but we'll see what that turns into. Does that turn into anger? Does that turn into helplessness? It can manifest itself in many, many ways. Once again, now that I'm off the show, I'm eager to see what these things turn into, just like you guys are, and I'll watch next Sunday and find out.
Catrielle asks, was it emotional to film the dinner table scene at the end of the episode?
That was actually fun. That was just a straight up awesome day where we all got to not be dirty, which is rare on the show. So you show up for work, everyone got dressed up. I think the ladies had some glamour makeup a little bit, not too crazy, but it just does stuff that doesn't happen on the show. Everyone was clean, everybody was happy, the tone of it was such. I think only in the context of the show where it's used is it emotionally impactful the way it's supposed to be, because the juxtaposition of what it's put up against.
Right.
So.
That is a good point. Makeup is a rarity.
Yeah.
That sort of makeup is a rarity.
Exactly. Pressed pants.
Right? What's that?
All right. Clean socks.
Asha asks, if you were Negan, who would you have chosen to kill with Lucille? That's an unfair question.
No, I don't know. He goes around the group and he's assessing the group when he puts the bat in front of everyone's face, the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. He's a very good read of character. He knows he hasn't broken Rick until he's finally broken him. That's why he continues to push. He says it to Denai when Michonne says, okay, we get it. We get it. I understand. And he's like, you understand. He doesn't understand. And he's right, because he keeps pushing and he breaks him, and he breaks him to that point where he has given up and he is broken. But every time he puts that bat at somebody, he's looking at them, engaging what's happening, and he figures out, just without any dialogue between the two, he figures out that Carl is his son. He figures out that Rosita was in a relationship with me because of how people react. So he's gauging the entire group as he goes around. And I've already, sort of presented to him and basically said, let's go. I think he at that point has to assess, okay, is this guy more of an asset to me alive, or is he more of an asset dead? Do I take out the strongest guy in the group to show the group that I will take out the strongest guy, or do I take someone else to show, do I take out a pregnant woman to show that I will take out whoever I have to? There's a whole mind game going on as to who he's going to take out, and I think that ultimately he senses that Abraham is more of a threat alive than he is, if you were to take him out. He also assesses at some point that there's something to be worked with in Daryl. And we all know as an audience, if we think back, we're like, oh my gosh, he's that jacked up, controlling brother, which we've seen, and we know that he's potentially susceptible to that. So who has Daryl become at this point going forward, which I'm excited to see how that dynamic works itself out too. So Negan is a good reader of people. Let's see if he made the right choice.
He's a scary, good reader of people.
Yeah.
And by the way, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is the villain.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He's terrific.
Hugo asks, was that a prop or was it actually your body covered in goo?
It was both, and I'm not sure which take they used and which. We did some with me laying down for the cast to react to, and then there were a couple times. Actually, the stuff during the day, anything in daylight with me laying there was Greg Nicotero. They had made up a mock-up of me. I didn't shoot any scenes during the daytime, so anything that you saw with me in the day was a mocked-up covered in goo. The rest could have been either or.
Got it. Now just a comment from Smithy. I love you, and I am definitely going to miss you on the show. With that said, you rock the shit out of that scene.
Right.
So good job. I agree. I agree.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
Now Libby asks, not just from last night, but through the entire series, what has been your favorite scene to film?
Maybe a toss-up. Maybe a three-way toss-up at this point. Saying goodbye to Rosita and Eugene in each respective scene, the goodbye scenes, the breakup, even though Abraham obviously did not use his big boy words in the right way. But saying goodbye to her, I knew that I was leaving the show at the time. She didn't. So I knew I was saying goodbye because we hadn't passed on everything to the cast yet. We didn't know exactly. But by the time I shot the goodbye scene with Josh, we knew we were leaving. So we knew that this was our last time that we were going to be having an actual scene together. And I love working with Josh, and really, really, really talented. And it was a special night. So.
Now, kind of random question, but I love it. Gordon asks, "What was your
Watch it, Gordon.
What was your last meal on set?"
My last meal on set. It was nighttime, and it would have been after lunch, so it would have been some kind of soup thing. Probably would have been tomato soup, ironically.
Oh. It was always soup for dinner?
We would have a late night snack on cold nights as soup.
Okay. Got it. Now Charlie asks, what's next for you?
We'll see, Charlie.
He's the keeper of all secrets.
I am the secret
You're very
keeper.
good.
Yeah.
Right?
That one's not a secret. We just don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any chance that you'll be back at all in a flashback or anything like that?
They tell the stories how they tell them. We've seen that done before. As we say, we hope. Who knows?
Right. Okay. But nothing yet.
There's nothing that I'm aware of.
All right. I'm trying so hard to get something out of you. He's so good. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
We are going to miss you.
Oh, you'll see me in season 15.
Okay, good. See? Season 15. Stay tuned. Uh-oh. You're in trouble with AMC.
Damn it. They're going to fire me. Wait, they've killed me. They can't fire me.
They can't do it. You can do whatever you want. Bye, guys.